Hello, FlossTube. This is Bonnie Jeanne, also known as PostMuse, and my channel is Postally Yours. Welcome to my FlossTube, and I thank you very much for watching. And if you'll notice right up here, I have a lamp that hangs down. I'm working on trying to find a better solution for filming my floss tubes, but at the moment, this is the best I can do. The loud curtains behind me and a lamp that hangs down. But we're getting there, slowly but surely. But speaking of making better floss tubes, I am curious about a couple of things. When you're watching my floss tubes, do you see lots of advertising? And if you don't, or if you do watch floss tubes with lots of advertising, is it because the advertising is generating revenue for the floss tube channel? Or if you are getting ads on my videos, should I be paying for a subscription so that you don't get ads? I haven't been able to find these answers. But as you can tell as I'm speaking, I don't really know how to phrase the question. And in fact, a couple of times when I was just filming this, I almost ended the statement with the word question mark, because that's often how I search things or send text. I dictate them. And, so it's a blankety, blankety, blank, end quote. Blankety, blankety, blank, open quote. Anyways, that's my question this week about FlossTube. I do have other questions that I'm going to try to write down and pose in a coherent fashion later on. So I'm going to start this week by showing you my works in progress for the previous week. And this, I usually film on Sundays, but I was having a devil of a time with my computer last night. So this is Monday. So I did make some stitches today, but I'm not going to show those until my next floss tube on Sunday. I think what it is, I had to delete. Didn't have enough space. I had to delete some of my other videos. So my first one that I'm going to show you is the Peppermint Purple Stitch Along for 2025. And I am keeping up. We just finished week 11. The new fillers are available on Wednesdays. So I'll get a new filler on Wednesdays. I'm keeping up with the weekly fillers. I got a teensy bit done on the center section of this, but here you go. This is on 20 count Be Stitch Me Avocado. And I can't remember, I believe it was one of these corners down here that I did, and then I did a little bit more on the center section. There's a little bit of green that I filled in. So this is showing it pretty true to color. So there is supposed to be a border that goes around that is similar to the center section. However, I have decided very definitely I'm not going to do that border. I'm just going to keep it real simple, because 20 count Aida is definitely not ideal for doing black work. It's just too small. You spend a lot of time doing this very detailed work, and it really doesn't show that well. But I'm not going to change. I'm not going to go back and change anything. So that's Peppermint Purple's 2025 Stitch Along. And the next one, and I work on that every week. That doesn't go away. I just work on that every week. The other weekly stitch that I'm doing is a new to me designer, and it is, for me, an incredibly difficult stitch. I am, again, doing this on 20 count Aida. That's not what makes it hard, though. It has a lot of confetti. It's not full coverage by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a lot different than my usual stitch. This is by, I can't pronounce the name of the studio, but I'm putting a picture in, and I'll have the picture stay for a period of time. It's called I Persist, and the quote is like a dandelion through concrete, I persist. And this is to be an opal. So there you go. That's going to be an opal. I can't get it to focus. Stay still, Bonnie Jeanne. Stay still. It's not going to focus. And all of the what looks like white, that's 3 different colors of white. There's a white, like a winter white type color, and there's a bluish white, and there's a pinkish white. Those were so hard to do. So now I have some more of the dark blue and then the purpley colors that need to go in, and the opal will be pretty much done. This is 1 page of the pattern. But for me, it's a very, very difficult stitch for me. So the original was done on white Aida. So when there is negative space, there's spaces that won't be stitched in this. I wish I could get it to focus better, but I can't. And it was supposed to be white Aida showing through, but mine, this is Tweed by Atomic Ranch. It's a natural color. And I was thinking, as I was trying to finish up all of that white, oh man, now I have to go back and stitch the rest of it white, plain white. But I don't know that I'm going to do that. I don't know that anybody's going to ever notice, and I don't know that I have the wherewithal to do that. And like the thing says, I'm persisting on this. It's not an enjoyable stitch for me. I find it very difficult to do. But I want to finish it. I want to persist and finish it. It'll be an accomplishment for me and a lesson learned. The next one is the Shepherd's Bush. This is their Scattered series. And the one that I'm working on right now is Scatter Sunshine. And this is the picture. I am doing this on Atomic Ranch. I've forgotten the name of I forgot the color of the fabric, of the thing, but it'll be in the notes. And this is where I am now. I think it's called Weathered Stone. It is called Weathered Stone. I didn't get a lot done on this either. But I will in 2 weeks when I take this back out again. This is going to be a focus. So that's all I've gotten. I just got a little bit more done on it. Just a teensy tiny bit more done on it. That's what the fabric is photographing well. It is a pretty fabric. I like it a lot. I might see if they still carry. Atomic Ranch is hard because they're not always in stock. The colors don't always stay, but if I can get more of that, I have a project that I'm going to show in a little bit that I think might be nice on this weathered stone. All right, my next one is the Magic Garden Sampler by Shakespeare's Peddler, and I really enjoy stitching this one. I'm just stitching it slow. So I believe, when I look at the picture, this looks like it was meant to be, and I can tell by the back, it was meant to be stitched on, this was meant to be stitched on 40 count linen. And I'm stitching it on 28 count Atomic Ranch Morning Lilac, and it's going to be ginormous. So that's where I am on it right now. It is, the fabric is more lilac than it's showing. And all I got done this week was that glove there. I partially got the glove done right here. It still needs a cuff. Slow but steady on this one. It is a fun stitch. I don't know why I don't put more time in it. Probably because I spent so much time taking in and taking out. I persist. Oh, I have to tell you something. So one of my friends is a crocheter. She does a lot of crocheting, and we were talking, this is going back a year or so. We were talking about, when you have to take things apart. For cross stitch, I know there's the term frog, but I don't like it because if you don't know what it means, it's very, very confusing. It doesn't make any sense at all unless somebody actually explains it to you. So I was telling her about that, and she said, when I have to take out my crochet stitches, I call it making ramen. And I looked at her quizzically, and then dawned on me immediately, because when you take it all apart, it's all curly and, you know, just like dry ramen. It's all curly, or even wet ramen. And I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to call from now on when I have to take stitches out. I'm making ramen. Although I wouldn't use that. I say that to myself, but again, I don't like things that are exclusionary, and some of the terms in the cross stitch, if you don't know what they mean, it can be a little bit exclusionary, and I cannot stand the if you know you know type procedure. I don't like that at all. My next one is ink circles. This is New Doors, and boy, am I having trouble with focus tonight. The saying on it is old keys won't open new doors. So I'm doing this on 28 count Mirage Lugana, and it's by Picture This Plus. And then you can see old won't. Old won't. And when I was stitching this, I was saying, yeah, old won't do a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of things I won't do anymore that I'm old. A lot of things I will do, though. I want to go zip lining again. I enjoyed that. I went zip lining with my grandchildren a few years ago, and that was so much fun. Don't want to ever do bungee jumping, but I would love to do zip lining. So that's Ink Circles New Doors. And then this one I carried over from the week before. This is Fairy Coffee Mother by Heartstring Samplery. It says, I need a fairy coffee mother. And I haven't got very far. I'm doing this on Fiber on a Whim, 20 count Ada, and it's called Tuscan. And that's showing up very nicely. So the stitches don't look like they're showing up, but in real life they do. They do. So this is the Fairy Coffee Mother coming in here. She has very dark colored hair, and I was kind of thinking that I might change the color of her hair because it looks so dark, but I think I'm going to leave it the dark color because everything, it's, you know, this, because I'm using such a bright fabric, it's not showing up very well. So that's Fairy Coffee Mother by Heartstring Samplery. And then the last one that I worked on this week was Kitty Cottage Sampler by Little House Needlework. This is another one that I made a lot of ramen with this week. And I'm going to have to do more ramen. The picture is teeny, itty, bitty, tiny. So you can see, you'll see it better when I show you the actual thing. So I'm getting there on this. There's threads, so forgive me. All right, so here's my kitty. All right, so the kitty, I miscounted somewhere. So you can see on this side here, he's not as rounded as he should be. I didn't go out when I should have gone out, or I went out where I should have gone out, but then forgot to come back in and then go out again, whatever. I did something wrong there. I am contemplating, and I also used the wrong colors in some places. There was supposed to be 2 shades. You know, it's the 435, 36, and 37 shades of brown. I can't remember the colors that they're called in GMC, but I got them all mixed up on my color palette, and I kept stitching the wrong color. So taking out just what I need to fix that side is probably going to mean taking out a whole portion of the cat. And I'm not sure I want to do that. So I'm just going to continue on with it. And I really love it. I love the ABCs and how it has cat words in it. And once I finish it all, finish the framing, finish the whole thing, and all of the busyness is going on, I'm going to take another look at it and decide if I'm going to just leave it as is or take it out. I can't just add more to this because then the frame coming down there won't be enough room. So, and then you see the fish there. Those are so much fun to stitch. I love stitching the fish. So, funny story. So where I work in Provincetown, right down the street, there is a fish house. It's called Max Seafood, and they're all over the Outer Cape. It's not a chain by any stretch of the imagination. It's all family run, and there's different variations in the towns, the 4 towns that are on the Outer Cape: Eastham, Wellfleet, Truro, and Provincetown. And in Wellfleet, there's actually 2 Max Seafoods. But anyways, I'm a vegetarian, and occasionally I will, if it's super fresh, I might eat fish. But usually I don't. I wouldn't call myself a pescatarian by any stretch of the imagination. However, my coworkers were saying that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck come into the Max Seafood that's close to where I work in Provincetown. And I was like, okay, I might make an exception. I might go there in the summertime into their little fish market there, maybe walk into the restaurant and get French fries to go home, or have a little cocktail at the bar just to see them, because I guess they frequent it quite a lot. And if I got fish, I'd just get like broiled fish, and I'd bring it home and give it to the cats. So my cats might benefit from my fascination with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, Boston boys. All right, so that's it for my works in progress this week. It doesn't look like a lot. There was few stitches on many projects, which is what I want to do. It keeps things interesting, and I'm hoping that this week I don't have to make as much ramen. So as far as market purchases, I wasn't going to do any. However, Lindy Stitches released for market. She released the last in her airmail series. This is the April one. So this is April, and it's the Dodo. And I mean, I had to finish the series anyways. There was no way I couldn't have a complete series. So I did get that from market. And then Cross Stitch the Rainbow, which is a collaboration between like 30 or 40 different cross stitch designers. And they use one particular palette that's from Threadworks. So this year, the palette is called Night Garden. And these, I don't have anything nice to show this against, but these are, I gotta find something nice to show this against. I didn't think in advance. Let me see if this will work. Probably not. Well, anyway, these are the colors. They are not super variegated. There is some variegation, but as you can see, they're very jewel colored. There we go. There we go. They're very jewel colored and super, I really love the colors. I really do. So I figured I have to get those, and the patterns that go with it are all like 60 by 60 stitches. And I thought, with that much floss, I can get at least three of the patterns. So I got 3 patterns. This first one is by Sweet Wings Studio, which is a new to me designer. It's called Moonflower Patches. I like the way it looks like a little quilt. Love that. Then the next one is by Ink Circles, and I love me some Ink Circles. This is called Forget Me Nots, which I love the name of that flower and the flower itself. Look, there's an elephant. Forget Me Nots. It's hard to see. And then the final one is by Tiny Modernist, and it's called Twilight Moon, and I adore it. And these 3 will look nice together. I'll frame them in the exact same frame, and there'll be a triptych. I have a thing for things of 3. So they'll be together, framed together, and I hope to start them. I have some fabric. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a bluish gray, and I think all 3 of these, I think this color palette will look gorgeous. And next week I'll show the color palette again. I'll remember to bring a whiteboard so that you can see the colors better. But I have to find the fabric so that I can get those started. And I'll frame them separately. but I want them all to be the exact same frame, the exact same size, all of that. I really love it. Really love that. And I just like the whole idea of the nighttime kind of palette and flowers at night, and that just appeals to me. I just like it a lot. And the next one that I would like to start next week. So next week I'm pulling out the stitches from the first week in March. But the other one that I want to get a start on, because I've been thinking a lot about it lately. It's called, so it's actually 2 patterns from 2 different studios. So this is Bo Peep, no sheep. And you'll see why in a minute. And I have all of the Little House Needleworks sheep virtues. So each one has a little virtue on it. This one is Faith, which doesn't sing to my soul, the word faith. So I'm going to replace that with grace, because there is no grace in here. And I think we all need to give everybody a little, not everybody, but 99.9% of the population needs a little bit more grace. We all need to give a little bit more grace. So there are 12 of these, all right? And they each have a different sheep. They're all the same size, obviously. And the reason I'm really thinking about these is my eldest daughter, once upon a time, I taught dance to little ballet and tap to little ones, 3 and 4 year old. And then my daughter, when she was a senior in high school, she took over. She didn't take over, but she joined the studio. She's been dancing since she was 3, but she joined the studio as a teacher, and she taught little ones. And her very first class, they danced to a song that had something to do with Little Bo Peep, and my daughter dressed up as Little Bo Peep with the staff, the whole 9 yards. And the little ones were dressed up as little lambs, and it was the cutest thing. So that was in June of her senior year, and my granddaughters tried dancing for a little bit of time, but they didn't continue on. So I was thinking that in June, just to commemorate my daughter's first time having her own class, dance class, I wanted to get the Bo Peep started. So Bo Peep herself, she's about, if I do her on, I was thinking about doing her on 32 count and linen, and I think she'll be about 13 inches by 13 inches. And then the little sheep would be about 4 by 4 on 32 count. So I definitely want to do them all on the same linen. However, I don't want to do them on one big piece of linen, because that would be just ginormous, and there'd be an awful lot of negative space, an awful lot of, and they don't really blend together very well. I mean, they do, but they don't. So I was kind of thinking what I might do is do the Bo Peep and frame her, a frame similar to that, the one that's there, very, very simple, and then do all of the little sheep, but frame them, so there's 12. So I was thinking, I have this thing with 3. So I was thinking you can buy the frames that have spaces. I don't know if you could get them. I think you can get them 4 by 4. But anyway, even if I couldn't, even if I had to frame them individually, all 12 of them individually in their own individual small frames, I would have Bo Peep. And as you can see, she's facing away. So the Bo Peep would be on the wall. And then there'd be 3 rows of 4 sheep, and they would be behind her. So, little Bo Peep, if you leave them alone, and they'll come home wagging their tails behind them. So that's kind of what I was thinking about doing. And then I started getting really elaborate, and I was thinking, well, maybe I'll make 12 little sheep that can each be wearing one of these as like a little blanket. And then I thought, no, those sheeps would have to be so big in order to carry off a 4 by 4 blanket that I would need a massive wall to have all those sheeps, and it would just take, I would never get it finished, and it would just be one of those things that just I work on, it never gets done. Not that I think, well, I think my eldest daughter will get this, and I think, when I'm gone, I think she will enjoy having this in her home. But the vast majority of the stuff that I cross-stitch, I don't think either of my children would want to have hanging on their walls. I can't imagine that they would throw it away, but they might, put it in a storage box and it goes down into the basement, not to be seen again, which is fine too, because maybe my grandchildren or great-grandchildren will find it someday and pull them all out. But I do think that one would be, that's another reason I want to start it. I'm trying to triage some of my cross-stitch to stuff that I think my daughters, my two daughters or my three sisters might enjoy. This postage stamp one, this series here, I might have to bequeath that to somebody else, because I don't think anyone in my family except me would enjoy that kind of stitch. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe one of my granddaughters, or even one of my grandsons. Who knows? I have one grandson who has very eclectic tastes. He might enjoy a whole series of silly birds with a postage stamp design. Who knows? But that's kind of a morbid thought. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this week. Haven't started any new, oh yes, I did start a new book series. So at night I try to read something that's really, really simple. And I started reading this series called Cape Cod Mysteries, just because it takes place on Cape Cod. It's by the author's name. It's a pseudonym, but her name is Maddie Day. And I've read 3 of them. They're little mass markets, so they're really quick reads. I've read 3 of them. I have all kinds of criticism and so forth that I always do with cozy mysteries. But it's a nice light read at night. And light in both ways of the word. Light in that the mass market, those little paperbacks, don't weigh a lot, so they're easy to keep open in bed. And also because they're not, that you don't have to really put a lot of thought into them. Pretty formulaic, they are pretty, but the setting is really fun for me because I recognize a lot of the places she's talking about. She doesn't use real names for most of the places, but I kind of know what she's talking about. The Outer Cape is a small community, so everybody knows everything. So yeah, that's about the only thing I've been reading. And as far as life updates go, I didn't get to go to dance class last week because the instructor was down in Florida. He went down to Florida, but I do get to go this week, so I'm excited about that. And I'm trying to find some adult classes. I know there's a lot of them starting up in the spring, and I'm trying to find some adult classes that maybe I would be interested in going to after work, just so I can get out of the house. And I don't make friends very easy, and I'm very, very shy outside of my own home. But somehow I think I need to kind of change my attitude about that and try to get out of the house a little bit more. So that's it for this week. Fairly short week. And as I said, I will continue to work on trying to find a better place to do my floss tubes. I have some ideas, but I'd have to make sure I did my floss tubes in the daytime hours, because I don't have a lot of natural light in here. This light is probably the best one. It's an overhead. It's a pendant light. It's made of paper, and it just hangs over my head, and it seems to be a good light for filming in. So that's it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to those who subscribe and like my videos. And I hope you leave comments. I do try to reply to them all. I do read them all. And I will see you next Sunday. Bye-bye, everyone.